today, I'm not here for the current leaders. I'm here for the future leaders of Africa. He may not look like a future leader, but he taught me some lessons. This young man taught me some lessons that I want to share with you. I never got a chance to meet him. I observed him from afar, from a bus. So I don't know his name. But for the purpose of my story, let's call him John. And let's just hope that one day he'll be one of Ghana's presidents. So as I waited in a bus, traveling from Accra, which is the biggest city in Ghana, to Kumasi, the second biggest city, I observed this young, tiny man selling a very important commodity, water. Yes, the water that you drink every day. Who hasn't drunk water today? Yes, we drink water every day. Out of the so many things this gentleman could sell, he chose to sell water because everyone needs water. The second thing I observed about this man is he had an interesting strategy. So he was actually observing pastry, biscuits, and bread sellers. Instead of being all over the place, he had a small, tiny corner in the lorry station. And after a passenger in the bus had bought bread or pastry, he would just walk by and sell water to you. Because of course, you need water after eating bread, wouldn't you? Yeah. This is a strategy that I never thought this young man would have. And he taught me. The other thing that I learned about him is, after a few minutes, he had sold his water faster than anyone else. And with pride, he was telling his friends his story, how he had sold all the water before any of his friends. Now, moving on to the next story. There are three things that I want you to see about him. Number one, he chose a very important commodity and was targeting a need. Everyone needs water. Rule number one, if you go into business, choose a service that people need. Rule number two, he had a very interesting strategy. He was making a difference with that strategy. And he had competed all his rivals. And rule number three, once he was done, he shared his story. He told his friends how he had finished his water faster than them. We need to share our strategies. I didn't realize it. I never knew that these three lessons, years later, would apply to my life. Now, I started a technology company with two wonderful and creative individuals back in Ghana, a male and a female. And we asked ourselves, how can we create the water in technology? As technology entrepreneurs, we don't just build technology, but how do we build something that everyone in Ghana or in Africa can use? Then we came up with an interesting strategy. We will build the water that will ride on bread, which is the mobile boom in Africa. So we came up with a technology that enabled people, consumers just like you, to cross your legs just as you have and chat with enterprises in Ghana. So you can chat with dozens of enterprises today. You send them a message and they respond. So whether your phone is as smart as this one or as dumb as this one, you can actually chat with the businesses that are listed with us in Ghana. Ask them questions that you want them to answer, or give them feedback instead of driving to their offices. And this is catching up in Ghana. With this very service, you can also search through over 60,000 businesses in our database. So whether you are looking for a boda motorcycle to buy, or you are looking for a scarf to buy for your wife on her birthday, you can just use any of these phones to search through our database, and you find a shop near you providing that service. Now, moving on next, that is how we made. That's the water that we created. That we asked ourselves, how can we make a difference in our business? Then an email came one hot afternoon. The email had good news and bad news. The good news was it was inviting us to one of the biggest technology conferences in the Silicon Valley, the US. That was good news. But the bad news was we were only 8 months old. How can an 8-month-old company from Ghana make a difference at such a big stage? And for those who don't know much about Ghana, let me tell you. Ghana is noted for its gold, its cocoa. And yes, we did well in the World Cup. We beat the US. Ask them. We beat them. They call it soccer, we call it football. Whatever you call it, we still beat them. So Ghana was not noted for technology. How can we make a difference? We told ourselves, well, let's go anyways. If we go and we shine, that would open doors for us. If we go and we don't shine, after all, how many Ghanaian companies have gotten there? We have shined anyways. So in 2 weeks' time, we actually went. And after 2 days of presentations, after several pitches, out of 155 companies, some were from Asia, Europe, and only 3 were from Africa. Guess what? A technology company from Ghana called Nandi Mobile got the Best Business Award in Silicon Valley. Just like Little John, we were small, tiny, young, but we made a difference on such a big stage with our strategy. And what I want to ask is, how can we share such wonderful stories? If I hadn't gotten to this stage to tell you about Nandi Mobile, you probably might not have known. But how can such wonderful African stories be heard? And I'm happy as a blogger to have been part of the biggest blogging organization in Ghana called Blogging Ghana. And our motive is to tell stories such as that of Nandi Mobiles. That is what we want to do. We want to empower people so that they can write their own blogs and tell their own stories. So we go about training people how to set up blogs within 5 minutes and write their own stories so that people will know about what is going on in Africa. And I was happy last week when Ghanaians submitted over 120,000 tweets and over hundreds of blogs when we voted. They are writing about our elections, the good, the exciting, and the not so good side of our elections. For the first time, Ghana wrote its own story and it did not wait for the international community. That is what we need to do. We all here have stories to share. You have a story. You in the back. Yes, you. You have a story. You have a story. What are you waiting for? Africa, go share your stories. Thank you.